You know what nobody talks about? The person with the messy desk, the chaotic car, the bedroom floor that hasn't been fully visible in months, the bag where nothing has a place, the workspace that looks like a small explosion happened and stayed. Everyone around them has an opinion. Get organized. How do you find anything in there? This is why you can't get ahead. You've heard it your whole life. And somewhere along the way, you started believing them. Started thinking the mess was the problem. Started thinking you were the problem. But there's a specific psychological reason why some of the most intelligent minds in history lived and worked in complete chaos. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand your surroundings in a way that changes how you see yourself completely. Go back with me for a moment. You're a kid. Your room is chaos. Toys everywhere. Books open, face down on the floor. 3 projects half started on the desk. Your parent stands in the doorway. How do you live like this? Clean this up right now. So you cleaned it, put everything away, closed all the drawers, and sat in the tidy room feeling vaguely wrong. Like something had been taken, not just stuff, something harder to name. Your thinking felt slower somehow, less alive, like the order outside your head was creating disorder inside it. You couldn't explain that to anyone, so you just waited until the room got messy again, and felt like yourself again. That wasn't laziness. That was your brain telling you something true about how it works. Here's what's actually happening inside the mind of a messy person. In 2013, psychologist Kathleen Vohs at the University of Minnesota ran a series of experiments. 2 groups of people. One group worked in a tidy, organized room. One group worked in a deliberately disorganized, messy room. Both groups were given the same creative problem-solving tasks. The results were striking. The people in the messy room consistently produced more creative and original solutions, more unusual ideas, more unexpected connections, more genuinely innovative thinking. The tidy room produced competent conventional answers. The messy room produced breakthroughs. Vohs concluded that disordered environments signal the brain that conventional rules don't apply here. And when the brain believes conventional rules don't apply, it stops thinking conventionally. It starts making connections it would never make inside a neat, organized space. Your mess isn't evidence of a broken mind. It's the environment your brain built to think freely. But there's a second layer. Even more interesting, psychologists who study attention systems have found that messy people typically have what's called highly selective internal focus. Their brain has learned to filter out environmental disorder completely, to treat the chaos around them as irrelevant background noise, and redirect all available cognitive energy inward, toward ideas, toward problems, toward whatever they're actually thinking about. This is the same attentional profile found consistently in highly creative people. Entrepreneurs, writers, scientists, engineers, people who build things that didn't exist before. Their brain made a very specific trade. I will ignore the outside so I can fully inhabit the inside. And the mess is simply the physical evidence of that trade. Every pile of papers is a decision not made. Every unwashed cup is attention redirected. Not toward tidiness, toward thinking. And here's what nobody tells you about the mess itself. It only looks disorganized to you. Research on what psychologists call personal organization systems shows something fascinating. Messy people typically know exactly where everything is, not despite the mess, because of it. Their filing system is spatial and associative. That pile on the left is last week's thinking. That stack by the window is the project they're circling. That collection on the floor is ideas they're not ready to file away because filing something away means they've decided about it. And they haven't decided yet, because their brain is still working on it. The mess is an externalized map of an active mind, a 3-dimensional representation of everything they're currently thinking about. Clean it up and you don't just lose the mess. You lose the map. If you've ever spent an hour organizing your desk, finally got everything perfect, and then sat there completely unable to think, staring at the tidy surface, feeling somehow less capable than before, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. But here's where the research gets genuinely surprising, because scientists who study the relationship between environment and cognition, who look not just at creativity, but at long-term intellectual output, Keep finding the same counterintuitive pattern. The people who produced the most original work across their lifetimes, who made the discoveries and built the things and wrote the ideas that changed how we understand the world, were disproportionately, consistently, almost universally, messy. Einstein's desk at Princeton was famously chaotic. So was Darwin's study. So was Mark Twain's writing space. So was Steve Jobs' office. Not occasionally messy, permanently, deliberately, functionally messy. When Einstein was asked about his chaotic desk shortly before he died, he gave an answer that stopped people in their tracks. If a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, what then is an empty desk a sign of? He wasn't joking. He was describing something real about the relationship between external disorder and internal richness. The desk wasn't despite his genius. It was part of the same cognitive signature. There's one more thing worth understanding, and it reframes everything. Tidiness requires a specific kind of cognitive resource, the ability to consistently prioritize environmental order over internal focus, to interrupt your own thinking to put things away, to value the appearance of organization over the experience of thinking. For some minds, that trade makes sense. For others, the cost is simply too high. Every time they stop to organize, they lose the thread. The idea that was forming dissolves. The connection that was almost visible disappears. And they know from experience that once it's gone, it doesn't always come back. So they leave the cup where it is, leave the papers where they fell, leave the map exactly as it was. Because the thinking is more important than the tidying. And somewhere in their history, they learned to trust that, even when everyone around them didn't. You were never disorganized. You were never lazy. You were never someone who just couldn't get it together. You were someone whose brain made a very specific decision, that the interior world mattered more than the exterior one, that ideas were worth more than appearances, that thinking freely was worth any amount of mess, and you paid a social price for that decision your entire life. The comments, the judgments, the quiet assumption that the mess meant something was wrong with you. Nothing was wrong with you. Your brain was doing exactly what it was built to do, building an environment that matched how it actually thinks. Not how other people think, how you think. The mess was never the problem. The mess was always the map, and you were always exactly where you were supposed to be inside it. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Think about your messiest space right now. Your desk, your car, your room. What are you actually working on inside that chaos? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.